Good evening, viewers. It's Rishans. Today is 10th of July, 2020. Viewers, today we're going to discuss about two topics. Number one, the judicial reforms of Pakistan. And the second topic, it will be related to the students who are currently in the law degree or the students they want to enter in the law field. Today, in our studio, I've invited one of the renowned advocate of Supreme Court of Pakistan and also a member of Punjab Bar Council. Currently, he is a chairman, Legal Education Committee of Punjab, Mr. Kusan Faisal Mufti. Good evening, sir.
Thank you.
That's right. So as we know, that today we're going to discuss two topics, and I'm going to take you the first question straight away. Why the judicial reforms necessary in Pakistan?
You know, since we shared our legal history with Britain, and since then we were independent, we did not think very much. We did not make our inputs very much to make endeavors for change according to the times.
Right.
Rather, in the developed countries of the world, basically they change with every change of environment, change of culture,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
But we are just stuck with the laws, judicial system,
Right.
which we inherited from the Britishers.
Right.
We never thought that at that time we were the colony.
Right.
And this is a system basically carved out for a colony. So, ever since Pakistan came into being,
Right.
we were in a need, we were in a dire need of change of a judicial system
Right. To run the country.
to run the country.
That's right.
For example,
Okay.
we have judges
Mhm.
to be initially appointed at 3 different stages.
Right.
It is because in a colony, they have to do a mix and match when there were Britishers in the subcontinent.
Right.
Like the initial appointment is that of civil judges. Then at a later stage, at second step of their promotion,
Right.
they were merged with directly appointed additional district and side judges.
Right.
When
So, Mr. Mufti, so you're trying to say that when before the partition of Pakistan, so 1937 Constitution that came into being, and then Pakistan took that bridge of 1937 Constitution and run the country. And
basically it was Government of India Act 1935.
that's right.
We adopted many of the provisions and statutes from the Government of India Act, and
Right.
thereafter we utilized those for our dispensation in Pakistan. But this is a wrong approach to my view.
Okay.
Once we were independent and we nomenclated Pakistan as Islamic Republic of Pakistan,
Right.
so we have to go by the Islamic injunctions. Although there is objective resolution in Article 2A of the Constitution of Islamic Republic of Pakistan,
Yeah.
that we have to go by the tenets of Islam.
That's right.
But this constitution is basically a constitution we have experienced in different European countries and elsewhere.
That's right.
But we, in fact, are unable to make up a constitution which basically is in accordance with the needs of the people of Pakistan.
Right.
Let's suppose in each and every era, this constitution is molded according to the needs,
Right.
doctrine of necessity.
That's right.
So there should
So,
be.
so I'll hang you here. Viewers, when Pakistan came into being before the partition, so 1935 Act, and then the bridge came for 1937 to run the country. After that, the 1956 Constitution, the 1962 Constitution, and then 1973. Currently, we are in the era of 1973 Constitution. But the question we're going to ask with Mr. Mufti, that why the amendments has been done in 1973 Constitution, and now when we need the judicial reforms, how difficult it would be, please.
Basically, according to needs, there may be
Necessity,
a
yeah.
time that
That's
there is
right.
a necessity of introduction of
That's right.
different amendments.
Right.
But this is not a solution, basically.
Right.
Nowadays, there is a majority number of persons who are of the view that there should be a presidential form of government.
Right.
This view has emerged because this system, this constitution, the governance system basically has miserably failed. They had not delivered very substantially to the masses.
Yeah.
So that's why it crept into the mind of different segments of the society that there should be a presidential form of government.
Right.
And to my view, there are certain segments who had worked on it,
That's right.
and there are rumors that in the coming times there may
Right.
be a presidential form of government.
Right.
For example,
Sorry. So we use, like, for example, like in the era of General Ayub, the presidential reforms was there, right? But then the constitution got broken, and that was the remarks that the necessity, right? Then the 1962, same thing happened. Then 1973, when General Ziaul Haq, and the same thing happened with the necessity of the time, right? What I'm asking is that every time when the government start processes on the track, and the necessity came through by the judiciary, and now when this sitting government said that before coming into the government, that when we're going to do the judicial reforms, the ex Chief Justice of Pakistan, Mr. Saqib Nisar, said that we're going to do the judicial reforms. But this time, it's nearly 2 years by the government, but still the thing is not has been done. Is it very difficult at the moment?
gentlemen, basically, introduction of reforms is a very easy task to do.
Okay.
To abide by those reforms is a very difficult task here, particularly in Pakistan.
Right.
One government came in with particular mindset.
That's right.
The other came in.
That's right.
He brushed aside everything and introduced something
And
new.
blame the ex-government.
Blame
That's
the
right.
ex-government.
That's right.
And simply, the reason used to be is that this particular task, this particular reform has been introduced by previous government, so there is nothing substantial in it, and so we have to throw it in dustbin.
Right.
This attitude should be changed. This attitude, the politicians of Pakistan should change this attitude. In other countries, when a set of reforms are introduced, the opposition are fully in loop.
That's right.
This is a gesture of the government which make the opposition bind by whatever is being introduced.
Mr. Mufti, you know the United Kingdom, which called as a Muslim democracy, right? I've studied a lot. I've been there in the UK for like 15, 16 years. You know the judicial reforms. I mean, if the decision normally comes, and if any resolution if the resolution has to come, they has to come from the parliament, and they implement it on set date. After that, if the things been on the wrong side, they're going to be punished straight away. The judicial reforms, they change it within no time. We are in a democratic country. We are in the democratic setup, but my dilemma is still there, that why it is so difficult. I'm going to take to the next question, Mr. Mufti. Do you think that if the judicial reforms, for example, just suppose that tomorrow the judicial reforms, it's going to be on set track, it will going to impact on Pakistan?
First of all, I want to make you remind from a near past.
That's right.
Justice Iftikhar Muhammad Chaudhary has carved out judicial reforms book through a judicial reforms committee which have a statutory and constitutional backing.
Right.
It has got a very precise rules to be followed by the courts of the country.
I mean, the tight rules.
Tight rules.
That's
very
right.
precise rules.
Yeah.
But when he retired, those are in air.
So that means that tight rules meant to be give benefit to the certain people. Okay.
The reforms
Yeah.
introduced should be through the legislature.
Right.
Less than that, whenever a chief justice came in,
That's right.
he will introduce certain set of rules.
Mm-hmm.
The other will come in, and everything will be flat.
That's right.
So, if we genuinely want to introduce judicial reforms that should have come from the mouth and from the statute of the parliament.
That's right.
Less than that, there will be a particular fact lagging which is called consistency. And if there is no consistency, then there is no use
Okay,
of introduction of.
between me and you, just as a on a laughter note, is any work has been going on through for the judicial reforms?
Yes, there is a lot of work,
Okay.
but
Are they still happening now?
yes.
Okay.
But
Good.
there are certain
Hurdles?
You can say hurdles
Okay.
from different corners inside the country or outside the country. They
So
don't-
that means the one who want to benefit from this judicial reforms, they will push, and the one they're not going to benefit from this, they will put the hurdle on that.
Ultimate beneficiaries are the people of Pakistan.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
there are the stakeholders that, in fact, if you see different segments of the society, there are certain monopolists sitting around there.
Right.
So those monopolists do not want these reforms to be introduced, and the people of Pakistan, the masses of Pakistan would benefit out of it. So for those reasons, it is a very, very difficult task to introduce judicial reforms.
That's right.
Let's suppose I will suggest you a very, very minor thing to introduce.
Yeah.
Minimize the shelf life of a particular case.
Right.
If you ask me to disclose, there are certain cases which are even handwritten by Allama Iqbal and they are still pending.
Wow.
Certain cases in
All
Bombay
I
High
want
Court.
to hear is important stuff. Viewers, I've just spoken with Mr. Hussain Mufti, and the viewers and the students especially, this is a very important and a vital program for you. After the break, I will ask you the more questions about especially for you. But before going to break, I'm going to tell you the stuff Mr. Hussain Mufti just said that there are some still cases that Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal has written by their hand and they are still pending. Mr. Mufti, if you can tell this same thing in Urdu so the viewers they can understand that on the broader vision, please continue.
मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि अगर सिर्फ सिविल केसेस की शेल्फ लाइफ कम कर दें तो उससे आवाम को जो फ़ायदा होगा वो अनइमेजिनेबल है। उसका तसव्वुर नहीं किया जा सकता कि अगर एक सिविल केस को आप 6 महीने का टाइम फ्रेम दें और उस पे जज साहब की बास पुरस हो कि आपने 6 महीने में क्यों ख़त्म नहीं किया। एंड वो इंग्लिश में कहते हैं ना, इफ़ देयर इज़ अ विल देयर इज़ अ वे।
Right.
तो अगर किसी की चाहत हो, किसी का वाकई ध्यान हो कि ये काम करना है तो इम्प्लीमेंट करना कोई मुश्किल काम नहीं है। इसकी मिसाल मैं ऐसे देता हूँ कि मेरे नॉलेज के मुताबिक कुछ ऐसे केसेस भी हैं जो अल्लामा इकबाल के अपने हाथ से लिख के दायर हुए हैं, आज तक पेंडिंग है, उनको 100 साल से ज़्यादा हो गया। हमारे यहाँ सिविल केसेस में बेसिकली जो डिले होता है वो डिले अगर ख़त्म कर दिया जाए, उस केस की शेल्फ लाइफ को मिनिमाइज कर दिया जाए तो सबसे बड़ी जुडिशियल रिफॉर्म यही होगी।
Right. Right, viewers, we're going for the short break. After the break, students, especially of the law degree and the students who want to go to the law field, it's an important program for you. After the break, I'm going to talk to you. Take a break.